Hey, this is Blake Sloan. I've been selling real estate over 14 years, and our team of highly trained professionals, along with our unmatched marketing, has sold thousands of homes here in the Myrtle Beach area, and this is how we do it.
The problem most people in life, they don't make any decisions, especially ones that aren't successful. Ones that have success in life make decisions. Good or bad, they make a decision, get off the pot and go. Right? Then they readjust and make that decision somewhere else. And so part of that fix here, right, is the straight lines. I'm going to review that kind of for anybody that hasn't really studied it and hopefully sell you on studying it. Ultimately, what we're trying to do, right? So what's the reality of the straight line? Give me a synopsis, somebody, Ryan or Baron.
Well, I mean, you got to keep them on the straight line, which means getting them from point A to point B without hovering too much off the deep end or whatever Jordan Belfer says, going from like planet Pluto, Neptune and shit. People start talking about random stuff like sports or life or crazy shit. Your job is to get them from point A to point B in as short a time as possible and not waste any kind of time. And then if you get them off track at any given moment, you can get them back on the straight line, but it's much more difficult to sell them and actually close them if you're going, hovering all over the place. That's the basic gist of it.
Yeah, you're going to try to be a roller coaster. You got to keep it straight.
Right. It talks about goal-oriented. So you want to have goal-oriented selling versus random conversations. Goal-oriented selling versus random conversations. Why? Because here, what are you doing? A lot of this is just circles and bullshit. That's just random conversations. You're hoping to get to the middle. Now, are you going to get there? Yeah, at some point, but most of the time, it's not going to be the reality of having someone who's in that. Does that make sense there? And so make sure that we're understanding what this is here, of kind of what that may be. So we'll fix that shit later. But the reality here is I look at this aspect as a frame. I want you guys to see this from now on as a frame. Hey man, let's ask the president call him next time, or like somebody about to die, just wait till next time. You hear me like Kevin? Unless that's like the president or emergency in the family, just actually come.
I thought it was one of my buckets, but it was.
Yeah, they can wait. The bucket can fucking wait. All right. So the reality is here of this part. I want you guys to look at two different parts of this. One, rapport, and then two, gathering information. And so we talked about I gotta get somebody to a 10-10-10 to make a decision in those aspects. You guys know what that was?
Your business, the product.
Number one is your product. It's really part of the 5 elements of sale. I'm gonna build on that. That's what I'm getting at. So one, the 5 elements of sale is number one, your product. I gotta have somebody that's a 10 out of 10 on my product, meaning that they love the product. So what's the problem in our business? We got multiple products. Number one product is you, which we'll talk about the second part in a second. The second part, which is really agency. And so that's how we'll get at. Next one is obviously the guaranteed sold system or the unfair advantage program to be an agency client, right? And then the other one's going to be the house they buy. Or on the seller side, Jeremy, that's going to be do they accept the offer, right? So number two is got to be what? You. So this has got to be a 10 out of you as well. Now, if I'm young and brand new, what's the problem with that?
It's something that you know anything.
You're uphill battle, right?
Yeah.
So you just got to be aware of that, and it's okay to be that way. You just got to make sure you get to 10 out of 10. And you got to be aware of where you're at so you can get to 10 out of 10. Number three, what's number three? Company, right? Now, here's the thing. A lot of times we make a mistake of thinking that we got a well-known company or names or recognition or that they Googled us, that we don't get to get them at 10 out of 10. We assume they're already at 10 out of 10 without having the conversation of selling them on the company. That's where that's built into the presentation with all of the recognitions in the middle there. So don't slack on that, because what happens is you could be getting lazy here and you're leaving people at a 7 out of 10 instead of 10 out of 10. Does that make sense on that, you guys?
Yeah.
So I've been using that. I've been using that. What we said the other day, where I'm like, Blake's crazy here. Kind of when I get into the company parts, I talk about myself, and we're not just part-time Uber driver, fishermen, stay-at-home moms. You know what I mean? I'm like, Blake's crazy here. We're here. He holds us completely accountable. So I want you to hold me completely accountable as well. And kind of go through there, and I just talk about obviously the Forbes and everything else.
And they love it, right?
They love it. They're like, whoa, that's awesome. Yeah, then that's when the throw up comes out. Where we met with one agent, like, every time we called her, you know, either this was in the background or she wasn't, you know, this, that, or the other, whatever, like, that's good, you know, that we're here.
And I want you guys to listen deeply when they give you complaints about someone else. Take that and learn with that.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize the stuff they're judging people on until you're hearing these stories. And so don't just listen to like, oh, these agents are stupid. Like, listen, every little thing matters. Because I can tell you, some of y'all do that stuff that they're complaining about without even knowing that you're doing it, right? And so be hyper aware that we talk about in regards to what that aspect is to make sure we're doing that. So our goal is what? To get them from where we're at here at the beginning. Let's say they're at 1. We got to get them to a 10, at 10 in all these. Are you with me on this? And so we're moving them through that process, and we'll talk about kind of what that is in a minute. Now, here's the cool part. This is where most of the time, if you get the first 3 10 out of 10, you can get them sold. And so I want to combine last week's training and this week's training. So number 4, do you guys remember what number 4 is? Number 4 is the action threshold. Got it? That's why I wanted to pull these together for you guys. I just taught you that one part because it's so difficult or so in depth. And so what's happened is most people, if you get 1 10 out of 10, 2 10 out of 10, 3 10 out of 10, what's going to happen is they're gonna close. Probably 70 to 80% of the people. Because they love your product, they love you, they love the company, they're going to feel okay enough to do that. But what happens is, for a majority of people, what's going to happen is these are going to be S and C personality types that aren't going to make a decision. And it has nothing to do necessarily with your product or you. It has to do with their core belief system that they came up on. And so this has to be something in your awareness and you understand psychology enough to break this down. Okay, you know what? It's a little different. I got to go down this route right here because they have a different belief system. And so the faster you can understand that, the faster you can master that, the faster you're going to be able to make sure that you can understand that.